Hello everyone. In this lesson, we are going to create an AI avatar from scratch. For this purpose, we will use Higgsfield along with our bot called HM Architect Pro for prompt generation. The first thing we need to do is go to Higgsfield and sign up. In the previous video, we already gave you a walkthrough of Higgsfield, including its features, models, pricing, and plans. Basically, everything about the platform was covered in that video. So in this lesson, and in the upcoming lessons as well, we will mainly focus on the core topic. In this lesson specifically, we are going to use Higgsfield to generate our avatar, which will become our base image. To do that, we need to go to Image Models. As you can see here, there are many image models available. But the one we are going to use is Nano Banana Pro or Nano Banana 2. You can choose either one. Personally, I usually use Nano Banana 2 because it is slightly cheaper than Nano Banana Pro, so it consumes fewer credits. That's why I mostly prefer this one. So go ahead and click here. And this is the page you will see. Right here is the prompt box where we will write our prompt. We can also add reference images if we want. Below that, you can see my previous generations. I've created many things using Higgsfield and its image models, including Nano Banana Pro and Nano Banana 2. These are basically my generation history. For example, this one here is something I created earlier. This is my AI avatar, which I used as my base image. I also generated multiple angles of the same character. As you can see here, I created a front angle, close-up, full body shot, left side, right side, and some medium angles as well. So basically, I covered several angles for the base image. The reason we do this is because in later generations, we will use these images as reference images. Creating multiple angles helps maintain character consistency. Nano Banana usually follows the prompt very strictly and generates exactly what we ask for. It doesn't usually go beyond that. So preparing these angles helps us guide the later generations more accurately. I also created some anime-style images and even a short anime movie using these models. As you can see here, all of these images were generated using Nano Banana 2. Anyway, let's move straight into the process. At first, the interface might look a little intimidating, but don't worry, it's actually very simple. Now we are going to open HM Architect Pro and ask it to generate a prompt for an AI avatar. The good thing here is that we don't need to write complicated prompts or technical descriptions. HM Architect Pro is specifically designed for users who may not know how to write advanced prompts. So even if you write very simple instructions, it can still understand what you want. You don't need to explain everything in detail, because in the backend logic we have already included all the necessary structure. It already knows what information is needed to generate a good image. So the only thing we need to do is specify what we want in our avatar. First, we specify the gender. In my case, it will be female. Then we mention the age. In my case, it will be 25. Oh, actually, I made a small mistake here. I accidentally submitted the prompt too early because I wanted to add a few more details. For example, I wanted to specify things like ethnicity, hair color, and hairstyle, just to give more control over the character. But for demonstration purposes, this is completely fine. So even though I accidentally entered an incomplete prompt, HM Architect Pro still understood what we were trying to create. Now we can modify some things inside the generated prompt. For example, we can adjust the age, the gender, or some appearance details. Here you can see things like defined eyebrows, subtle bronze contour, neutral eyeshadow, and soft mascara. If you want, you can modify these details as well. For example, let's say I want the character to wear a different dress. So I can simply write something like, I need to modify this so the character wears a crop top body outfit. Now let's see what HM Architect Pro generates. You can also see that the prompt is currently framed as a close-up portrait. If you want, you can change that as well. For example, we can ask it to generate multiple angles. So we can say something like, I also need different angles such as full body, half body, and side poses. Now, HM Architect Pro will generate those prompts for us. You can see that it is generating the prompts right now. Take a look here. At first, it merged everything into a single prompt, which is not exactly what we want. So after that, I specified that I need 4 different prompts. Now you can see the result clearly. Here is the first prompt, the second prompt, the third prompt, and the fourth prompt. So first we are going to use this prompt, and let's see what it generates. Now let's go with Nano Banana. Simply paste the prompt here. If you already have a reference image, you can add it here as well. But for now, we're not going to use any reference image because we are creating our AI avatar completely from scratch. So we'll just leave this section as it is. Below that, we have the format and aspect ratio settings. In this case, we will use 9:16, which is a vertical format. Then we have 1K and 2K quality. The difference is not very significant, but I usually prefer 2K, so I'll select 2K quality. Next we have batch size, which means how many images we want to generate at once. We can generate 1 image or up to 4 images at a time. But for this demonstration, we'll generate only 1 image. Now let's generate it. Alright, it's generating now. While that is processing, let me explain something important: character consistency. To maintain character consistency, we need to add a character identity lock at the beginning of every prompt. This tells the model to keep the same character appearance across different generations. But that alone is not enough. We also need to provide a reference image, because without a reference image, the model does not know what the character actually looks like. So the reference image we will use is the one that is currently being generated. Once it finishes generating, we will simply drag and drop the image into this reference box. Alright, the image has finished generating. As you can see, this is our base image. This is our AI model. Right now, she is wearing a satin crop top, and from here we can modify many things if we want. For example, we can change the eye color, hair color, clothing, or other appearance details. Now let's go back to character consistency. To maintain the same character across different angles, we simply drag and drop the generated image into the reference box here. Another option is to download the image first, and then upload it manually from here. Both methods work. In this case, I'll just drag and drop the image directly into the box, and you can see it has been added here. Now our base image is ready. The next step is to create different angles of this character. To do that, we need to add a character consistency lock inside the prompt. Basically, we are telling the model, this is the reference character, and it must keep the same face and identity while generating new angles. So for that, I ask HM Architect Pro to add a character consistency lock to all prompts. As you can see here, the model has added the consistency lock. It clearly states that the same 25-year-old woman must appear in every image, with identical facial structure, eye shape, nose, lips, skin tone, hair color, and overall identity preserved, with no variations. Now let's test one of these prompts. This one is a close-up frame, but let's try the full body shot instead. So I'll copy the prompt. Now we go back to Nano Banana and paste the prompt here. We have already added our reference image, so the model knows which character to follow. We can also add a small instruction ourselves at the beginning of the prompt, such as, use reference image for character consistency. It's not complicated at all. You can always adjust prompts manually if you want. But for now, let's test the prompt generated by HM Architect Pro. Click Generate and let's see what happens. Alright, it's generating now. And now the image is ready. As you can see, the model maintained the exact same character. Nothing changed in the face or identity. The only difference is the pose, which is now a full body shot. And honestly, the quality looks amazing. Now let's test another prompt, for example, a side pose. The reference image is already added, and we have already instructed the model to maintain character consistency through the prompt. So let's generate this one as well. Click Generate. All right, it's processing. And now the image has been created. If you look closely, the face is exactly the same, and the overall quality is really impressive. The model kept the same character, but changed the pose, which is exactly what we wanted. Of course, we can refine the pose later if needed, but for this demonstration, it works perfectly. Now we have a side-angle version of our model, and her face and body are clearly visible. That means we can use this image later as a reference image for future generations, especially when creating videos or more complex scenes. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching.